which is super cool. That one, I'm truly in love with this this stupid little egg because it is silly to like be in love with an egg.
Yeah.
People are gonna say stuff about that.
Yeah.
But it's
when you
awesome.
look at it, it's just like, yeah, it's.
We also know you, Russ. You're a dirty one.
Yeah, what he takes a jig bomb.
You need to get a fish, fish and eggs sometimes. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Flies 4. Today we are sitting at Umpqua's headquarters in Louisville, Colorado, and with me is Brent Bauer and Matt Winkler. These are our new product fly team, and we are going to be talking about flies for 2025. Brent, you've been with the company for more than a couple of years?
24 years, yeah.
So you've seen some flies come across the table.
It's a lot of fun.
And Matt?
A year, a little less.
But you've been a signature tire with us for
like 10 years.
Yeah. So we have two credible sources of all things fly. You're looking at part of the fly committee. So the review process when we get new flies sent into us, the three of us are sitting down with another kind of half that's not here. And we review all these flies, and we're really looking for things that kind of go beyond what was available before. Flies that float better, sink faster, swim better, or just really like, you know, our fish getters. So what we've got in front of us are new flies that have just hit dealers' bins. We're gonna go through our top 15 of how many patterns did we come out with this year?
72, something like that.
A lot.
Umpqua does flies.
Yes. Yeah. 22 new tires too.
Which is
That
awesome.
is a massive number, and it is, yes. Yes.
And so we're gonna do a little bit what we do in our fly review process is put a fly in front of us and talk about what makes it unique, a little backstory on the tires. And we're gonna kick it off with one of our favorites, one of our favorite tires. This is Lance Egan and his all new Bionic Hopper. Matt, you wanna give us a little rundown of?
Yeah, for sure. So if you're familiar with the Bionic Ant, this is Lance's Hopper version of that. A phenomenal fly. It has been a very, very good fly this summer. People have been catching fish on it like crazy. We're super stoked on this fly. Anything coming from Lance's Vice is pretty much a winner. And this one definitely does that.
I think the thing I love about Lance's flies, looking at them, they never look too over the top, like over embellished, but then you get them in the water and like fish just get on them right away.
Yeah, very much guide flies from Lance.
And he always convert really well. So available in 4 colors.
4 colors. Mm-hmm.
Again, grease that one up. Great as a single, great as a hopper dropper.
Oh, absolutely, for sure. Yep.
And white tuft on that thing makes it super, super visible. And again, you can choose how you grease this thing up, how low you want this baby to ride in the water. Well, cool. On the same kind of hopper train, Brent, would you introduce this new tire to Umpqua this year?
Yeah, this is Kyle Bacco from Billings, Montana. Guides up there, fishes flies hard, so we feel pretty confident in the bugs he sends in. Very realistic profile on this fly. Great flotation.
Like just tons of detail on the underside.
Detail, so much detail. Yeah, when you look at it from the bottom, it's what really just sets it off.
When you look at it from the bottom, the name is super appropriate. It's called the Fat Ass Hopper, and it is an ultra wide body.
Very wide, very low riding. Yep.
Have we put anything in the catalog that's this wide? I mean, it's like...
Yeah, it's a good splat.
Uh-huh.
Those fish are gonna be looking up to the sky.
Yep.
The dinner bell rings.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is an awesome fly. 2 colors for us and just so much movement in the water. Great hook gap on this one. Easy to hang a nymph off of.
Absolutely.
Plenty of foam there.
Plenty of foam. Plenty of foam. Yep. 2 sizes as well.
2 sizes as well. Thanks, Matt.
Yep.
Ooh, here's another tasty treat. New this year. Tim's Hopper by
Tim Drummond, longtime tire at Umpqua, guides up on the Colorado and the Yampa. Hardcore guide flies all day long.
Makes his money off of flies like this. which is super cool. I love it. It's like a Chernobyl style, but guided up. I don't know how else to say that. I've got a couple of these sitting on my fly patch that literally just have teeth marks on them like crazy. They get bit. Three colors in this one.
Yep.
Pink, yellow, and tan. And we did this one in 4 sizes, if I'm remembering right.
4 or 3?
4 or 3?
Yes.
I think it's 8 through 14,
Yep.
if I'm remembering right.
I think that's right. Yep.
But yeah, this one of the things I really loved about getting to fish this one is being able to take this upper wing, fold it back, and just apply a bunch of dry magic to that and watch this thing just kind of like low ride through the water. That struggling kind of dying hopper that's slowly going down like the Titanic. It got a lot of bites. Very cool fly from
It's just
Jim.
a great mashup of, you know, several different patterns all kind of combined into one, and it's just very buggy, very fishy, just a real standout pattern.
Yeah, it's one you see in the bin, you're like, yeah, I'd fish that.
Exactly.
Starting to step it down. This one comes from the shop you used to work at, Matt.
Yep.
This one, you guys are going to recognize the name. He's been on the show before. Mr. Charlie Craven and his new Hellion Caddis.
Yeah. Charlie came, you know, is kind of what's becoming kind of one of his trademarks in his dry flies, his wing material, that poly yarn that he uses. It's just phenomenal. Small little buggy little caddis with a nice little hot spot on there. Very, very good, you know, little caddis fly for sure.
Looped wing,
Yep.
flush floater.
Yep.
And as Charlie was explaining this fly to us in his story, I think one of the coolest things is he was talking about how you can kind of splay the wing and do different looks with the same fly, which I thought was, again, kind of one of those things where it doesn't have one dimension to it, right? It really has a lot of different looks for the same bug. SPBL, the 100, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of Charlie's favorites.
One of his favorite hooks, yeah.
Barbless, and these get small and techy.
They do. Big size range, big color range. Yep.
Yeah, the Hellion is going to be one of those flies that is going to find your way into your box and stay there, because that's a really fun one. As we leave dries, we're going to pick up on the big fly game. We had a bunch of cool new streamers in the 2025 catalog. Hard to narrow that down to a couple. But we're going to start small and work big. So this is a new one here. Matt, why don't you tell us about this one?
Yeah, this is the Rabid Strip Streamer from Kyle Ozowski.
Ozowski.
Yep, new tire from us, one of many. Very, very good, just very fishy, swimmy flies. A rabbit zonker, rubber legs, stacked dubbed head with a marabou collar, just nothing but movement on this fly. And very easy to cast. It's not a fly that's overly weighted in any way. So very easy to cast, bunch of movement in the water. Just a fish killer for sure. Comes in 4 colors.
Unlike a lot of the big streamers coming out these days, it's single hook.
It is a single hook, yep.
You know, great flash, underbody. It's
It's a very comfortable one to fish. Like, you don't need to fish that big 7 or 8 weight with that heavy line. Got just enough weight here to get it onto the surface and start dancing that thing.
Yep.
I remember seeing this one come across and when we were doing the new fly meeting. It was pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
Well, stepping up, we just had Eric Hurst here at the office yesterday QCing some of these bugs. This is his all new Thrasher. And if you guys haven't seen this one on social media, must not have social media. Well, give us the play-by-play on the streamer, guys.
Yeah, for sure. This is a large fly, no doubt. It's got a lot of flash, rubber legs. He's got these really nice kind of, you know, deer hair collars in there to really keep the bulk up, but keep the kind of weight down. So it has that profile of a big fly, but it's not overly difficult to cast. Deceiver style tail, so just a ton of movement when that thing's swimming through the water. Big articulated fly, very, very good. 4 colors, olive, yellow, black, and kind of a white natural.
And when Eric was in yesterday, he was talking about olive being his kind of number one confidence color there, which was pretty cool to hear. Says he likes all the other ones, but that olive was stand out to him.
His favorite for sure.
And I don't, you know, when we were assigning colors, I mean, how do you not go with a white, have the kind of black and purple combo, and
Yellow.
Yeah, and imagine seeing that, watching that all day, and then seeing it come up and grab.
Seeing it disappear essentially.
It's a very visual experience that be a lot of fun.
Yeah, Eric's at a guide out of North Georgia. They do the Chattahoochee down there a lot, which is that like giant brown trout trophy water with a lot of smaller ones between the giant ones. So pretty cool little swim fly there. Well, as long as we're subsurface, let's pull out some nymphs here. This is a cool new one. The development for what looks like a pretty standard fly was anything kind of but.
It's true. This is Dylan Gonzalez fly from New Mexico, called the jig sticker. On the surface it looks like a very straightforward perdigon, but as Matt experienced, markers and glue can become quite technical to get it laid out correctly, but great fly, super simple, obviously big sink rate, just get down, get in their face. I've had some good luck with this fly right off the bat. Great color too for PMD hatch.
Oh yeah, that real bright attractor style perdigon fly. I think it's worth noting here, you know, we talked about the development briefly, but like to bring a fly into production and get it into a dealer's bins isn't a small feat, and at Umpqua, upholding to the standard of the tires is such a big deal. And you know, will you talk a little bit about the back and forth you have with tires and developing some of these flies that we're seeing?
Matt does most of it, so I'll let him talk to that.
Yeah, it is definitely a long process for sure. Some are easy, but other ones like this that should be easy are not. It's a lot of sampling with the factories, getting those physical samples, and then giving them to the tire and letting them look at it and get their feedback on what. A lot of the time it's not what I say, you know, it's mostly, it comes directly from the tire. So if they want to change, I do my best to make that change, to get that fly how they want it off of their original specs. And it is a lot of work when you look at the amount of SKUs.
But I think that's the difference at the end of the day, is the confidence there, where it's just like, oh, you know, that's my bug, yes. And I know what's going to work for you in these scenarios, and you know you get to experience that on the other side with some of your own bugs too.
Yeah,
which is super cool.
And those relationships with the tires, I mean, developing that trust, you know, that they know you're not going to launch it until they're happy with it. Yeah. Really important at the very beginning.
Well, it can change timelines.
Oh yeah,
quite a bit.
We love those timelines.
2 months to 18, real quick.
Here comes the catalog.
And then the catalog. For anyone that hasn't seen it, Umpqua produces a 400-page catalog, which is where all these kind of roll out to our different dealers. But that kind of secures it as as far as what makes a 2025. Well, we've got another one from Mr. Craven. And this one, as soon as we saw it, we were like, that's a 10.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, no-brainer. And what, that's not the name of the fly.
No. So this is the little bit from Charlie Craven. I don't have my glasses on, so it's a little guy. But in the same vein as the 2-bit series in the past, this thing is tiny profile, very realistic, but also gets down where it needs to get.
18 to 22, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
2 tungsten beads, all the right colors.
Yep. A little nod from the 2-bit and a little nod from the Jujubatus. Took the best of both, combined them into just a really good small mayfly nymph. I mean, there's not much a fish can resist in that, or deny.
I don't care where you are in the country. Midges exist.
That's a heritage that's hard to beat.
Yes.
The Juju and the 2-bit.
Yep.
Double the confidence. And 2 beads.
And 2 beads.
All right, coming back up in the column just a little bit here. This was a fly that was super cool to see in our meeting. Would you guys introduce that one for us?
Yeah, this is the Graveyard series. There's a PMD, a Baetis, and a Midge. We just kind of lumped them together. But just a really, I would call this, a pretty darn, technical little emerger. It's got some nods to some, older patterns, but just revamped. It's got a really kind of fold over, foam wing case, but it's not thick, bright white foam. It's kind of like a packing style foam.
It's not a block of foam, which I think is so unique about this one.
Exactly. And it has a very, very nice translucent look to it. It's just in the water, it looks really, really good. This is a very, very, good productive fly for sure.
And who ties this fly? John Wood.
John Wood. He's a new tire for us. We actually brought in quite a few.
Yeah. Bringing in the whole series is always cool to have the different range of bugs there. It says a lot about bringing in a fly too. It's, hey, we could have just brought in just one little technical bug, but wanted to represent the range because we were super excited about this one. Well, the time has come where I want Mr. Matt Winkler to talk about Mr. Matt Winkler's fly.
Here we go.
Not one of my favorite things to do.
Perfect then. Let's get it on film.
This is the Nano Balance Leech, just a scaled down version of the original Balance Leech. Just such a killer fly. It fishes really, really well. What I did is I took this one, I stripped the ultra suede tail a little bit thinner, made it smaller, scaled the hook down, scaled the bead down. So it's just a scaled down version for, if you need a smaller fly or high alpine. It's really catching on up there. I didn't even really consider that all that much, but people this summer have been, crushing it up there. And I did change the hook a little bit. I put it on a little bit beefier hook since I was dropping the size down. So it's on a 403, a nice Tiemco hook, small package.
If anyone doesn't know, Matt only catches big fish. So like to beef up the hook was important. And some new colors in the Nano range.
A straight olive and then a black and red. Two colors I've been asked for more than any other thing. We have the black with the chartreuse, but just a pure black with a little bit of red in it, and then just a pure olive. Yeah. So those two are added into that lineup.
And not only do you come up with the platform here, but you actually, it's Winkler's leather in the Hairline catalog, correct?
It is in the Hairline catalog.
It's a big deal.
I've worked on that for a long time to find that material, source it, and then I literally buy it in bulk and have a little factory in my house where I cut it and sell it. Yeah, to
when you were still working at Charlie's, I got some Matt Winkler bags of this stuff It was awesome.
Yeah. He can't get enough at work, so he has to go home and
work on materials. And,
which is awesome. Yeah, so this is this one's been already doing very well for anglers in our dealers' bins. This is going to be a fantastic addition to anyone who is going to be fishing this one. And Matt, since you're here, what's your favorite way to fish and present this bug in the lake?
It is a true balance fly, so under an indicator. Usually, if I'm not familiar with the lake, I like this to start at about 8 feet under an indicator.
Chartreuse and black.
Yeah, darker color to start. Either the straight black or a chartreuse. Start about 8 feet, see where that gets it, and move the indicator accordingly.
And you're fishing this in conjunction with other stuff typically?
You can, yep, something above it. I like a chironomid just because that presents well as an upper fly in the column. So usually a chironomid with this guy underneath it. And colder the water, the closer to the bottom. As the water warms, you can get it, higher or lower if need be. But, I like to keep it close to the bottom.
Awesome, man. Well, speaking of chironomids, we do have a cool new chironomid from another Colorado guide. And an Umpqua signature tire for many years. Landon Mayer has his Trident tube midge, which, you can't talk about fishing an indicator rig without, like you said, fishing a chironomid with it. And this is a super cool, techie little chironomid. Yeah. You guys walk us through what Landon does that's pretty unique to this fly.
So yeah, Landon threads wire through tubing. Gives it a very, zebra look to it. The ostrich herl represents the gills. There's some flash in there, as well as a hot spot. He covers all the bases. Landon Mayer, if you don't know him, guides day in, day out on the lakes of South Park. Mm-hmm. So these have been out there. Fish are seeing them, and and eating them regularly. So trust Landon to bring in a chironomid.
I trust Landon too. It's when you spend a bunch of time looking at chironomids too, and you see that translucency with that under rib. Yeah. This is such a spot on kind of as close as it gets to the real thing, and a really super cool idea. It allows for a lot of interesting color blending, and not having the white bead like everyone wants to go to, but like you said, using that the ostrich herl up front.
And then the touch of, I don't mean to interrupt, but the touch of UV underneath.
Yep, for that little...
Yeah, the wing buds and just a little bit of bright color under there. Very, very, doesn't seem like it, but when you really look at it, it's a very technical chironomid.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, for anyone that was wanting to continue to kind of experiment in the streamer world and in the kind of lake fly, jig, river crossover, Garrison Doctor's got a super cool one this year called the Game Bird, and I think when he sent us over his story, he said it combines his two biggest passions in life: fly fishing and birding. Which is appropriate to hear a little bird chirping in the background here. But we got the Game Bird in 4 colors, and that's that kind of Euro jig streamer, and just, you know.
Yeah, classic, great colors, great light color. A lot of streamer fishermen love to fish lighter colors so they can see what's happening out there and influence the action a little better. At the end of the day, black's hard to beat. But
this one might be the ultimate, though, dude.
That's true. That's true.
That'd be
hard to argue against that color.
Yep.
The thin mint colorway.
Yeah. I fished with Garrison this spring, and he put this on in a run right at the head, and just tore him up.
Don't tell me he outfished you.
Well, when he put this on, but prior to putting this on, not a chance.
It wasn't a lake.
And
right?
then it was a lake. It was an inlet to a lake. So in the
Ah,
lake,
I gotcha.
whooped him. Once we moved to the moving water, it was done for me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, so this one, one size.
One size.
4 colors.
4 colors, yep.
Jigged, big bead.
I mean, plummets right down to where you fish.
It sinks quick.
Yeah.
It sinks quick, for sure.
Which is super cool. And that marabou just collapses. No reason for a fish not to eat that one. Well, we're down to our last couple here. Oh, no, we've got a few more. Thank you, Matt.
Hard to pass.
Oh, geez.
Protein.
Yeah, thanks. Brent, why don't you talk about these little snacks over here? I'm pulling out.
Yeah, when we saw this fly, we see a lot of eggs. This is Hans Mylant's Sunnyside egg. Innovation in eggs is kind of an oxymoron, but Hans knocked it out of the park. It's a jig bomb with nano chenille wrapped under that bead. It just gives exactly a Sunnyside egg kind of look and appeal, and it's just all weight masked in a nice egg colored chenille.
I love this thing, and it fishes
yeah.
incredibly well.
And it's tiny too. It's an 18. They come in an 18 and a 20 hook size, so it's heavy, looks exactly like an egg, and is small.
And you don't see the fly committee get excited about eggs very often. It's rare. Maybe not.
I am like truly psyched on this. I think one of the coolest things is that Hans has this now in a scud with us for 2025 too, the same platform.
Yep.
So he's been able to kind of apply this just outside of a pure trash fly and bring it into something a little bit classier. I would say that in front of Hans, to be clear. And he'd laugh at it too.
Hans guides Angler's Covey.
Yep, makes his living on the South Platte.
Yep.
Which is super cool. That one, I'm truly in love with this this stupid little egg because it is silly to like be in love with an egg.
Yeah.
People are gonna say stuff about that.
Yeah.
But it's
when you
awesome.
look at it, it's just like it's.
We also know you, Russ. You're a dirty one.
Yeah, but what he takes a jig bomb.
You need to get at fish. You fish an egg sometimes.
But what he takes a jig bomb, which is so unique, and he like what he calls posting the jig. So he, like a parachute, locks the bead in the center of the shank and then puts the egg the nano chenille around it. So on the bottom, you get the bright little spot, almost like an egg dot or a blood dot. And then the top, it looks exactly like an egg. It's just the way he's done it and designed it. It's just, it's a 10.
And for anyone that's not a tyer out there, a jig bomb has kind of a unique teardrop shape, right? And so you're able to kind of tie that in tight there versus that solid round bead like a countersunk.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the XC210 gives it some nice gap.
Totally. Well, we're going to leave the trout world here and enter into something completely different from a predatory standpoint. And we've got a new one here in the warm water category, the Ribbit Roll from John Lohr. Another new tire this year.
Another new tire, yep.
Fantastic tire.
Fantastic tire.
Like king of foam
expert, and not just hoppers. He can just do about anything that lives in foam. And this frog is just phenomenal. The way he does it. There's cylinder foam, sheet foam, 2 directions of cylinder foam, all kind of put together almost in like a puzzle, and it just comes out to just a phenomenal frog profile. And just, you know, the way he colors it up and epoxies, it's awesome.
I fished this for smallmouth in the Midwest this summer, and it pops like a hard body popper, but it casts like foam. It was this gorgeous like finesse combination with this thing. I loved fishing it.
Yeah, double weed guard so you can creep that through anything.
It's just so well thought out and designed.
Yeah. He's an engineer when it comes to foam.
Yeah.
That's a great way to put that. And our last fly is a saltwater pattern. And this was one that when we were talking about all the new flies for 2025, Matt was like bubbling about this fly from Anthony Janik.
It's awesome.
Why don't you tell us about it?
Do we have one?
No.
Oh, it's all right.
That's okay.
Yeah,
The Swagger shrimp.
I'll get it real quick.
Yeah. I need to look at it.
I got it.
I got it. There it is. So the Swagger shrimp, Anthony Janik, he just has an ability to take natural materials and put them on a hook in a way that's just, it's phenomenal. It's just, when you look at this fly, the way it's designed, he's got a jig bomb on here so it lands soft, sinks down, and just the, you know, the natural materials in the water, what they're going to do. I mean, could you find a redfish that wouldn't eat that?
I'm like hypnotized looking at it right now.
I don't think there is one that exists.
And if you knew Tony, you'd know he is extremely detail oriented. As a fly guy, Matt has learned working with Tony, which I did previously. Color, every little aspect of this fly, you get feedback on in that first round of sample. First round sample, you're usually not flying with Tony, which is great. I mean, he cares, and we always get there.
Yeah, this thing's awesome. And you know, the jig bomb idea, Dave Chenard kind of brought that to Umpqua with his Survive Entry series. But you know, the whole premise of that is wading flies completely different than that dumbbell platform up front. So again, Matt mentioned it earlier, but that really just kind of gentle slide into the water.
Land soft.
Is that first step of presenting to a fish is like how it hits the water. And so these just land super soft. And then, I mean, like you said, there's not a lot not to like about it. It's beautiful.
It is.
That's all we can cover. I mean, we could keep going. We've got 72 of these things. But you guys should get online, umpqua.com. We have all of our new flies on our new fly page on our website. You can go there and check them out. A lot of these flies are available in specialty retailers around the country. Any fly shop that sells Umpqua, you'll be able to find the full selection of Umpqua flies tied to tire specs. Thank you, Brent. Thank you, Matt, for explaining all this stuff.
Good to be
We
here.
hope you guys enjoyed Flies for 2025, and we hope you tune into the next one. Make sure to like, subscribe, and happy angling.
Take care.